Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Power Rangers, Big Bad Beetleborgs, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad, Sailor Moon, VR Troopers, and Tattooed Teenage Alien Fighters from Beverly Hills. While there's nuance to the series I mentioned, mostly it's about the teenage superhero genre, in which our high school heroes fight against the forces of evil with cool weapons, dish out goofy catchphrases, deal with the angst of leading a double life if they have one, and explosions. Lots and lots of explosions. Some of them I've seen, others I haven't. But a constant thing these series have is a core element to them. Sometimes they're the leader, and others, a prominent teammate. That's right, the red guy, gal, or turtle dude. For all of us who know of a Red Ranger, we all have our favorites. The good, the mediocre, or the absolutely painful fumble that the real-life actor of one of your childhood superheroes backflipped all their goodwill and reputation into the grave because they knowingly put Nazi quotes on their merchandise. And as much as I'd like to dive into how badly someone can fumble and blow up their career, that's not the topic of the video. However, if an over-the-top parody of the Sentai franchise with a good message on the theme of bonds and a generous helping of giants robots has you hooked, then pull out your morphers, strike a pose, and grab a bite to eat as we get into the Red Ranger becomes an adventurer in another world. And as always, I'm Mr. J, and I want you to have a day. Red Ranger in Another World starts off at the end of the Kizuna 5's main story. And before you get confused at the motif of the group, it's Band-Aids. It's goofy and in line for a Sentai show. I just love it. But yeah, as you can already see, or if you're listening to the video, hear me elaborate out, it's the big climactic final battle for the Kizuna 5. Their main antagonist, the Breakup King, is flying his big airship over Japanese airspace, firing down on the vulnerable citizens below, and leaving untold amounts of property damage in his wake. The Kizuna 5 managed to reach his airship, but Kizuna Red is the only one who wasn't seriously banged up, and has to take on the Breakup King alone, going all out with a noble sacrifice. With the Kizuna 5's archenemy vanquished, and the airship going down in a fiery explosion, Red takes his end in stride, as he hurtles back to Earth, ready to meet his fate. But to Kizuna Red's good fortune, he literally lands headfirst in another world. Having survived on his own for 6 months in... Actually, I don't think the manga or the anime told me the name of the world, so let's just go with the Kingdom. Our main character, Togo Asagaki, or Red for brevity, meets our second main character, Yidra Arvon. And actually, this is a good point to digress for a minute, because if you couldn't already tell from looking at the video, or aren't because you're paying attention to something else, but are still listening, the anime has a dash of fan service. If you aren't interested in the anime, fine, but I'm gonna need you to listen up for a minute, okay? If you're going to be put off by the scenarios that Yidra and Red are in, or the fact that Yidra's cleavage is out on display 24/7, I have a few other things I can recommend. There's watching paint dry, a jar of mayonnaise, Amish romance fiction, a bowl of plain mashed potatoes, or the Bible. I am purposefully listing the plainest things I can think of for you to consume. If you're scared or off-put by the fact that this is to appeal to the market of predominantly male Japanese teenagers, you need to rethink your life choices. Go watch a milquetoast anime critic or animation reviewer channel. I'm here to talk about a series that parodies a well-known Japanese television genre. If you're going to have a moral panic or some weird beef with fictional boobs, do it somewhere else, you wet, disintegrating loaf of bread of a human being. I have an isekai to talk about, so good day. Where was I again? Oh, right. After Red completes a mission Yidra posted, she desires his help, both for his skills and to study the morphing technology he possesses. As well, Red helps Yidra on her mission to restore her family's honor as a royal scepter, which is a highly ranking mage that studies magic and works for the royal nobility of her world. Though the two are quickly met by Princess Teltina and her bodyguard, Logi Mist, who are collecting magic seeds. Seeds which, while granting people great power in line with their personal desires, come at the cost of stripping the user of their humanity and self-control if they are beaten or overtaken in magical energy by the seed, leading to the four journeying across the world to find, extract, and dispose of the seeds. With Red putting his all into helping Ghidra, Teltina, and Logi with their goals, they're saving everyone in this world from the forces of evil, Super Sentai style. One of the best qualities of Red Ranger in Another World, I mentioned way earlier, is that it's able to be a delightfully energetic parody of the Sentai franchise. You see, for anyone who's watched enough Kamen Rider, Super Sentai, or like myself, the first few seasons of Power Rangers, there's a clear checklist of tropes that play out in the vast majority of these series. And if not, here's your crash course. Each iteration has a clearly defined object that is non-living or living, and it can be anything as long as it fits the theme of the series. For Red Ranger in Another World, it's bandages. Part of it is because Kizuna in Japanese means bonds, and also if I'm going to make a stretch here, Band-Aid bond! Since a bandage bonds to the skin to assist with healing up damage. Both deal in bonding to other people. The main cast will have a wide variety of gadgets and weapons centered around their iteration. Since Red Ranger in Another World's Kizuna 5 is about bonds, there's stuff like the marriage beam gun, the bond plates, the cooperation caliber, the turbo huddle, the victory Kizuna buster, and Red also carries around Kizuna 5 brand bandages. Ooh, another thing I love, and mentioned in the beginning as well, is explosions. The Sentai series is not complete without the characters dramatically posing and an explosion happening right behind them, and Red Ranger in Another World has fun with this right off the bat, as Ghidra questions how Red is generating an explosion as he transforms, and various other people in their travels looking in awe at how he can do that. What makes Red creating an explosion even funnier is when you apply the logic of fantasy isekai, RPG, and JRPG, and resource gathering games set in medieval times, in which part of that is collecting materials, you realize that he's not good at collecting monster materials because he chars the tar out of everything with an explosion. And let's not forget the most important part of the tokusatsu subgenre that is related to Super Sentai, the giant robot. Yup, Red is able to call in the Kizuna 5's trump card, the Kizuna Kaiser, at will. And there are times where the Kaiser is necessary, and times where Red summons it either to the detriment or overkill of the situation. One of my favorite moments was when the Kaiser stopped a giant moon with a face from hitting a town. Wait, that's just the plot of Majora's Mask. I did not expect a Legend of Zelda reference when watching this. I'll admit, I don't remember every trope and cliche of the Sentai genre, but I remember enough to say this. What makes a Sentai series so endearing, from what I know, is everyone involved is always rolling with the absurd and showy nature of the genre. It's pure insanity, sure, but if the actors don't embrace the outlandishness of what's going on in a Sentai series, then it falls flat. And that's what makes Red Ranger in Another World work so well. Red is the embodiment of every ultra-positive, can-do attitude and rebounding type of character from an anime and beyond, to the point that he's incredibly hard to hate. He's a lovable little goober because while he may be loud, fiery, and always talking about the power of bonds, but underneath all of that, Red is a well-meaning and trustworthy guy who understands that the ideas he totes around take time to build and nurture. And if Red were your box standard, self-insert doormat and cardboard cutout of an isekai protagonist, then a parody of the Sentai genre would have come crashing down. It's the outlandish gear he wields and the fiery heart of gold Red wears on his sleeve that makes this parody isekai a fun experience. Also, I love this man. Red's adventurer ID does not reflect a generic isekai stat screen, and instead something you'd see after coming back from an ad break during an afternoon children's program, complete with a video interview. It's perfect. I will say I have a couple of nitpicks. I did not like the American dub, partly because I felt the delivery for Red in his talking gear felt less like it was hammed up and more loud without knowing why the boisterous energy of the Japanese audio worked. Also, some of the stuff from the manga was cut out, and while I'm not miffed about all of it, a satellite has to make compromises for the project to get out on time, there's one thing I can't forgive. I cannot forgive whoever removed Yidra's swearing. If I find out who did it, I'm going to steal their socks and turn them into a puppet theater. I enjoy Red Ranger in Another World because it isn't some boring, generic, and overdone wish fulfillment story destined to be a throwaway isekai. It's like Reborn as a vending machine, an idea that isn't afraid to go and do something fun and interesting with the concept of being reincarnated, or in this case, transmigrated to another world. A Sentai injected into a European-style high fantasy world where Red's power set and abilities are unnatural because they require no magic to use. And a genre parody that is about as subtle as a loudspeaker cranked up all the way, but does it in a manner that makes you reel back laughing at the subtlety instead of rolling your eyes. I've watched Power Rangers up until Lightspeed Rescue, enjoyed good isekais, slogged through a handful of bad ones, and watched the teen superhero genre all throughout middle and high school. I can confidently say with the knowledge of media that I've amassed that the Red Ranger becomes an adventurer in another world is definitely worth watching. Sure, it's not groundbreaking or monumental, but a fun and engaging trip through a fantasy world. And if you're not interested, that's okay. Red Ranger in Another World isn't everyone's cup of tea. Though if you think it looks bad, go read and watch Isekai Cheat Magician. Good isekai is wasted on you and your collection of crusty anime merch. I'm Mr. J, and do you think when Red calls upon the Kizuna Kaiser, it exists between the planes of reality? No, really. Is it in a hangar in his world, and it just shifts from that one to the one he was isekai'd to, or does the Kaiser just float as Bond energy in some alternate dimension? Oy, Yudra's right. The way Red's gear works is so arbitrary.